Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Andy, Daddy O Fishing. Back with another video. I'm gonna start doing things a little different. We're gonna have smaller videos over specific stuff. So this one is the native mount for the XI3. You have to have an adapter plate that they suggest. I mean, I guess you could just put it on there, but they suggest this plate. Got mine right here, but this is what we'll be putting on. Goes like that. But anyway, I just wanted to make a little video. There's one that a guy made, I guess, from Native. It's pretty good. But they have their own kit, and I'm not going to spend $500 for that stuff in there when I already had some of it. So anyway, we get to it. See y'all in a little bit. Alright, y'all. So first thing, remove this plate. This is that access plate. It's just some Phillips screws. I have already test fit this to make sure that everything was gonna look good. You got these two pieces here. This one is from Motorguide. This is their quick release puck. You have to have this. You get this from, I guess, Native, or you know, any of the other websites, Amazon or Motorguide. This is the plate that Native sends. It's dirty because I've already mounted it, but this is the plate that they send. So you notice you have different looking holes. All these have to go a certain way. So you have these here. These two here are going to the back like this, and then your puck's gonna mount to these four here. Not quite sure what these two holes were meant for. They don't line up with anything up there. I thought they might be for the other two screws in this bag. So when you get this kit from Native, you're gonna have this plate in there. You're gonna have these screws, those screws, and then you're gonna have another pair of screws that say 12.5 on the bag. Then there's gonna be a bag in there that says 10.5, and that's for the 10.5. Their stuff's different. So just make sure you're using the 12.5 stuff. But anyway, the long ones, they go in the puck, obviously, because this distance is higher. So these longer screws are obviously going to have to go in the thicker portion. And then these are the medium sized. There's some that were smaller than this. And I opted just to have extra. I don't know which of the two I was supposed to use. It doesn't really go too much into detail. It just looks like they're smaller than these. But these right here, I just wanted the extra thread length just for strength. You know, if I had to pick between the two, having the shorter ones versus the longer ones, I was going to go with the longer ones because I get more thread. And in my mind, I guess it makes it a little stronger. But anyway, we just get them started. You don't want to tighten anything down because you want it to be able to shimmy around some. So I just always just kind of get everything started and then work in a star pattern, kind of like how you would do wheels. You don't want to obviously just torque this one down and none of the other ones are tight. You want to just kind of ease around. Just ease around and distribute the pressure so you're not bowing it. So I want it to sit flat. I don't want it to be warped or twisted because one side's tighter than the other and it didn't let the other side pull down. But anyway, like I said, I'm going to be doing different videos. This is just, I had a little bit of time and I wanted to go, I wanted to mount this motor up because I want to take it out as soon as I can. And the one thing that I really need on there is the motor. So I'm not tightening these, I'm just running some slack out of them so it's not all over the place. As you can see, I'm not putting any pressure on it, I'm just running them down a little bit. these in. Snug this corner. Snug this corner. Snug this last back one. Snug this one. Just kind of jump around. These don't, I don't know how much pressure you're supposed to put on them. I don't know the inch pounds or whatever, but I mean, they're brass and they're molded into plastic, so use common sense. You don't want to bear down on it. I mean, it's not that serious. Just check them, man, you know. Snug them up pretty good, and then just every couple of times you go out, just kind of check them and see. Check them and see if you're getting anything loose. That's about as tight as I want to go with either of them. Alright, that's that. Pretty easy. And then this plate, I'm going to have to mount some stuff to it. But it's where the power is going to come in. But I got to drill some holes. I'll probably show you all that, but I don't know yet. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Alright, so this is the finished product on this part. It just slides on there like that. Got your lock. Poke it in the holes here. That's that. These are my cables. I got to do something different with them. They're just kind of all around right now, and they're also not the right length. And then I got to shorten up my power cable. I got a matching socket for this. This is, like I said, I already had most of the stuff. That's why I didn't buy their kit, because I already have sockets and plugs and the wire and the mount, so I didn't need all of that other stuff. So until they start selling the thing they had in their video, it was kind of neat. It was like a little plate that screwed on right here, and one of the cables ran through it for this, but I don't really need that. I have a swivel collar, as you can see right here. In their video they have you taking a cord and tying it around here loosely so it slides up and down, but I'd rather have this 3D printed plate. I think I got this from Snipe Air Industries. It's a sliding collar designed for this. So you pull it, it hits the base of the motor, or the head, and you can pull it up. I think that's a lot better. That's what I would use. I wouldn't do that tying business. But this right here runs through here. So instead of drilling a hole in this release, I have the actual mechanism. There's an arm in here that moves. So I have it tied straight to that mechanism. So when you push this, it goes down and it pulls a rod. I have this attached to the forward and aft rod that moves. So when I pull this, all it does is pulls that rod that this pedal would pull when it goes down. It just rolls like that. So when it rolls, it pulls that rod. But yeah, so I just have it tied to that. That actually works really good. I can show you. But yeah, it works pretty good. And then you got this collar. Well, obviously I've got it all taken up, but in theory, it slides up like this. So you got it locked. And that's that. I got this. I think I got this from one objective, maybe. Little pull handle. This thing's pretty nice. I want to get another one. Probably get another one for the release for the motor. But anyway, I'm gonna pull this off and then get started on the wiring, because I've still got to run the wiring up to the gear, or to the battery box. Get these things all tuned up again. Oh, that's not good. Bam. Oh wow, that thing has crazy clearance. I put that other box in there. It doesn't even fit all the way down in there, and the lid still closes perfectly fine. That's pretty sick. We'll put these back in the hole before I drop another one. May have to push this inside and finish it in there. Starting to get a little drizzly. It rained yesterday. But yeah, it rained yesterday. So I don't really need a huge hole for this. So I'm gonna do it. You can see there's a ridge right here. This is your only usable surface. So when you flip it over, it looks like you have that outer ring of distance, but you don't. You only have this center, and you can see and then like a line kind of right there. If you look at it, see it? That's this piece. So really, you only have this much room. So when you're mounting stuff, you want to come in like this and see where it's actually going to fall, because if you drill a hole right here, you're going to mess up your seal. So this piece isn't going to seal when you put it back on there once you get everything mounted on it, which kind of defeats the purpose of that. So I want this to still seal, because I do live in southeast Alabama, and we have rain storms that just bust up out of nowhere. It'll be perfectly sunny and then it'll start flooding. But anyway, that's some good stuff to know. Pay attention. You don't want to have to buy another one of these because you made a mistake. I'd rather buy one because I put something better on it. But this right here I'm not super concerned with, but I do need these holes to be able to clear. So I can only move it as far as I can still drill through to use these. So even though I don't need but a small hole for this to go through, I still have to have the distance here for the screw heads to punch through without hitting this piece. So I'm trying to put as much stuff on here as I can, or at least leave enough real estate, because I want to put one of these, which is the socket for the trolling motor. I'm going to put one of them, and then I have one of those. If you've seen any of my other videos, it's like a USB port with a voltmeter, and it's got like two USB ports, power delivery port, and a voltmeter. I want to put it here, and it's 1.125". I think it's 1.125". It's a little over an inch hole that has to go for it. And then I wanted to put a one of the sockets, possibly the SAE ports, and then I also wanted to have room if I did decide to buy that kit that they have for the through-hole cable. I just have a hard time. You have to drill a hole over there at the end of the gear track into the hole. I'm trying not to. The whole reason I bought this one is so I don't have to drill holes into it. It's kind of pointless if I start drilling holes into it to run a cable to pull that quick release, which I can just run through an eyelet in one of these gear tracks perfectly fine. It may not look as good because it's not internal, but as far as not drilling a hole, it's better. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna probably put this something like this, because it's holding me off a little bit, because you have this piece here. I guess I could flip it up. Yeah. So something like that. About like that right there. I can still clear those screws through without drilling into that. That'd probably work good. And then I'll have room for that other port here, and I may not put a SAE port right there. I really would like to, because I use a lot of SAE connectors, and I want to be able to mount a floodlight, like a spotlight floodlight, on the gear track, and I want to be able to plug it in, but I guess it doesn't matter. So got this mounted. It's not perfect, but it's decent. Has a little cover that flips over it. This obviously is dirty because it came off my shearwater, but use this right here. Use a stepper bit. I drilled a pilot hole. These little notches right here, there's 3 of them, so I drilled center of that one, and then I used a stepper bit to open this hole up. I don't remember what size it was. I think I got a 3/4 stepper bit, and it was almost at the end. These little screws here run through this gasket. I have a nut on the back. Obviously they're Phillips, and this is a 6mm. So I used I have a little 6mm. I have a little hex head kit for my screwdriver, so I used a 6mm nut and held it. But I drilled a 5/32 pilot hole for these screws to go through, or not a pilot hole. I drilled a pilot hole initially, but 5/32 is what's required for this screw to go through that hole. So you need to drill a 5/32 hole, and they'll slide through there. You may have to screw them in a little bit, because it's a snugger fit, which I kind of like. But I got to pull this old wire off. That's from where I had it on the shearwater. But yeah, it's kind of how it's gonna look. Something like that. Alright, so if you haven't noticed, having to run these wires through here like this, these screws on the side here to put this in, that the wire goes in, and I had it mounted, you can't come in from this angle to hit that. So I had to pull it out and run the wire through here, wire it in, and then I can push it back down through there. Not a big deal, I just had to redo it again. But anyway. Putting this in number 2 spot. It's a little piece of heat shrink down. It's not going to shrink enough to get the wire, but I wanted to cover up these lugs. Normally you want conductor width gap on things like this, so that way you're not getting the insulation in there. And make sure you get a good tight fit. You want to strip them out, but you don't want that wire loose in there. These stroller motors pull close to 50 amps. This plug's rated for 50. At some point I'll probably replace it with something a little more expensive. But for right now I like these little, they quick lock together. Go ahead and heat shrink that. It's not perfect, but it's better than just having exposed lugs that's on there. It'll work for now. Probably wind up redoing it. And make sure that I install this like this, so that way it flips down from the top, just looks better. That 5/32 is a snug fit, so some of these are gonna have to be screwed in. And you could waller it out a little bit, but I'd rather the screws fit a little snugger in there. It's just personal preference, I reckon. Alright, so it's installed. Looks pretty good. May not be perfectly straight. It's close enough. Close enough for government work. Put a piece of heat shrink to cover up these exposed lugs. It's a little too big to go on this wire, but it's 8 gauge wire. Bought it off Amazon. These are 5/32. You need to drill a hole 5/32 for these Phillips head screws to go through. It's going to be a snug fit stepper bit for this. These things here, there's another one that was right here. Those little indentions. I drilled a pilot hole in it and then used my 3/4 stepper. I didn't go all the way in, just enough to where it would fit. Alright, y'all. Well, that's done. Got this mounted in a good orientation, how I like it. I wanted this to flip down. You got your 5/32. You got to drill. But this will be nice. I can quick disconnect there. Have this little watertight. If you can, you gotta play with it because it's got a little thin wall that you have to go in, get into that groove. But take it on and off a couple times, you'll figure it out. But I got that. This is that quick charge 3.0 port. Be able to plug the GoPros into it. I'm gonna mount it next to it, and then maybe a SAE port, basically exactly one of these next to it, so I can plug in an SAE connector. I'm gonna put one of these on the stern and then one by the seat. I've got 2 more coming, so I can plug the GoPro straight in. I got a 50 amp hour power cream that I'm going to put in here and run the electronics on it, fish finders, lighting, all that. But somebody's trigger happy out here today. But anyway, that's the plan. Run everything off that 50 amp hour. But I think it turned out pretty good. Got the wire heat shrunk on this connector, so there's not exposed lugs. Should be good. Alright. Got the wires, heat shrink on them. These are the terminals. Connect to the 100 amp hour battery. just a little look. Got that mounted. Oh, that's pretty good. This is my new 50 amp hour 12 volt power queen. Mounted in here. Run the Yak power system. It'll run through there, and then the fish finder power will run through here. Run all the electronics, run the GoPros, lighting, anything that isn't the trolling motor. I'm going to run off this. That's why I got a bigger one. I had a 20 amp hour because I was just running a couple of things, but I'm going to run dual HS Live units, some lighting, and then I'm going to be charging the GoPros constantly off of it. So I wanted one that's a little bigger, but that just came in. They got them on sale. Pretty good price, honestly, for a 50 amp hour. I've been pleased with the 100 amp hour that I got for the trolling motor. Hadn't had any issues with it. But yeah. Alright, y'all. Still got to clean up, but got the 100 amp hour power queen with 8 gauge wire. The terminal's crimped, heat shrunk. Runs through there, back to here, connects to this plate. Got my quick disconnect. See the trolling motor's on. Got satellite, GPS. But yeah, it's gonna be nice. I gotta shorten this cable up. Shorten this cable up. Finish these. Probably run them something like this. Maybe through an eyelet. And this one, run over here and hook it up there. But yeah, also these are the new emerald green Yak Attack boxes. I think they look pretty good. I got the teal, but it's a 13 by 13, and if you've seen the other video, there's no support for a 13 by 13. It just hits this post right here. Has no side support, so it flops. 13 by 16 or 16 by 16 is the way to go on a Titan X anyway. But yeah, pleased with it. Still got more stuff to do. I'm gonna make videos on it as I can. But yeah, happy with it. Appreciate y'all for watching. Catch y'all on the next one.